Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, holidays, Hanukkah, Boxing Day. But it's getting close to Christmas, so I might as well wish you a Merry fucking Christmas, right? So, first things first, I want to cover a couple of things before we get to two other topics. I usually cover three topics in 1 week. So, we're at TFL number three. So, I'm responding to a couple of comments, I think, in my last video. So, my choices in eating meat, what I'm doing is I choose to not be a vegan. Uh, if I had to choose between being vegetarian or vegan, I would rather be vegetarian, but I'm neither. I do have some vegetarian or vegan meals. I made actually a soup out of different like eggplants and beans, pinto beans, black beans, corn, and vegetable broth. Sometimes I'll have chili beans that are pinto beans that have no meat in it. So sometimes I can do vegan meals, but overall I do eat meat. Now, like Joe Rogan, I don't mind and actually encourage hunting when it is necessary. I don't like the idea of forklifts being plowed into cows. I don't like when chickens are caged up terribly. Factory farming has to be vastly improved to where animals are going to feel comfortable in their environment. It's impractical to release cows out into the wild. How would you do so? And it to the survive to the fullest extent. Animals will always kill animals. Animals will always hunt animals down. The mountain lions will kill the cows. The mountain lions and the bears will kill the pigs and the chickens. It's just the way it is. Chickens hunt mice. Pigs kill people when you put people in a giant pig pen, whether they're killing pigs or not. It's nature. It's not evil or good. It just is. And my personal beliefs, you may downvote me for this or not, that vegans live in a world of convenience. They live because of the modern world that exists before them. You know, when mankind started, we had to hunt and gather. We did the hunting, then we did the agriculture. Then we started setting up villages. We had women and children. Then we set up people to guard the village. And then you had hunters and then the gatherers. Then you had somebody with superstitious beliefs with gods and not setting up, towns and then kingdoms. And then from there, we had wars like the Romans and the Greeks, Egyptians. We had dynasties come and go. Then America, and then we had the modern world today. But we always started with hunting, and it was not the prettiest thing, but it's how you survive. And we will always survive no matter what, if above animals. Yeah, we have put a rule on cats and dogs and koi and ferrets and ducks are, I don't eat ducks and I don't eat geese. So my meat preferences are chicken, pig, cow, and any sea like shrimp and fish. That's about it. I don't eat much else. I have a question though for any vegans who are watching. How do you feel about laboratory meat grown in a lab? I heard that vegans are dismissing that. And my other question is, if you are eating vegetables by fertilizer, by animal remains, does that not betray the logic? I wonder. I never got a straight answer for that. I asked that question somewhere in the comments section, never got a straight answer. Anyway, so the other thing also is that somebody said, why not get a job in engineering? Well, why not you get a job as a doctor? And I think the thing is that it's not within me to be a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, an engineer. I had a chance to be an engineer, but I never took it because it never felt natural to me. Just like working at McDonald's for years would not feel natural to me, so therefore I never did it. And therefore I just I don't really have the drive to do so. Now, if I'm forced to leave and I go into a new environment, I will have to get a part-time job in that new environment. But as far as working at McDonald's and flipping hamburgers, I will not be doing that in East LA or Boyle Heights. Not going to happen. Not going to happen ever. So I want to make that clear. So I am trying new things, but there are just some things I'm not made to do. I would have become a stunt person if it wasn't for my hemophilia. Um, so, it's just, there are just different things. Now, what you're looking at here is the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special. This is a $5, and it shows Lobo standing over Santa Claus because he was hired to kill Santa Claus. Um, Christmas is a very tricky thing for me during these holidays. So, um, we'll talk a little bit about it. It's a depressing time, for a lot of people. Suicidal time. I know that my sister allegedly committed suicide because she didn't know where my mom was moving to. And she was in her 40s. I was about her age. Okay. She was, she was very weak. She ate, candy bars and chips and soda, and she didn't take good care of her body. So it was difficult for her to live. She just took her own life. I mean, she took her own life 9 years ago. 9 years ago. So that was hard on her. My mom had some grudges against her, and I said, "This was your daughter. I mean, how can you still think about the bad things she did when she's gone? She is fucking gone." And I know she cried on the phone. To be fair, to credit her, she did cry and was upset. But it's like, if you were a better mom, I don't care about how many things you can buy us. This is not a contest of who can buy who what. Fuck the luxuries right now. We're talking about reaching out to us beyond money, and she failed at that. My sister was married, supposedly happily married, yet she died of suicide. Her husband's a police officer. I mean, police officers' wives don't just commit suicide. You have to think about that. So, as far as men go, we're always thinking, do we do good enough? Are we doing enough? How are we helping each other? It's really tough. We have to kind of deal with the fact that these holidays are pressure on us. We got a shitty Star Wars movie out there. We got Cats. Um, and I think, it's just like, it's not a great time. But we got The Witcher. The Witcher seems to be pretty good. I've watched some of The Witcher. The action is very good. The dialogue is very good. The conflicts are very good. It seems like Henry Cavill knows what the fuck he's doing. So, I mean, it's not completely bad. We have Baby Yoda, but not yet, because that's yet to come into the stores. So we're just kind of dealing with the fact that it's like, it's another forgotten holiday where things just come and go. Most people don't watch many holiday specials anymore. What's on? We got the Hollywood Christmas Parade. We got some celebrities. Uh, there's Charlie Brown's Christmas. I don't know what else is on. It's just The Grinch. There's just not much. I mean, I don't like to watch the same exact things happen every Christmas. I mean, every Christmas is different. Um, so, for me, I just kind of do what I feel like doing. Um, I am saving up for a tablet. I think that the tablets now are on sale. Um, Save $30. I'll purchase one, and I'll probably do new videos from that tablet, and get an SD card. If I buy new things, I have to save up money very carefully. Sometimes it's hard. That's why in the description below is my post office box. So anybody who wants to donate anything, even if it's something you don't use anymore, not dead rats and not carcasses and not your blood, but just something, pens, pencils, old DVDs, money, um, not used socks. I would say just anything. Cassette tapes. Uh, what is it? Wipes, like disinfectant wipes, unopened toothbrushes, stuff like that. Sometimes I need a little bit. Okay. And if you don't, that's fine. There's no pressure. If you have it worse than me, then, don't even think about it. I did ask a lot of people on holidays to come by the bookstore and pick up something for someone. You can save a lot of money. I mean, at the bookstore, everything is like 80 to 90% off of what it would usually cost. So you're saving a lot of money. I mean, just 90% off of items in a little bookstore in a library. It's great. So am I depressed the holidays because of my status as a lonely person, as a person with no girlfriend? I'm going to be spending it alone. If I spend it with my family, it's not good. I'm going to just be even, I'm not going to be myself. I'm not going to be somebody who is, be able to talk and express my feelings. I'm not going to be able to express them to anybody. So I don't see the point, honestly, in going to see my family and they're just going to, bark questions at me and talk to me as though, oh, how's it going? Loud talk. Oh, how you doing? Oh, you do that? Oh, okay. Oh, how's it going? That's my extended family. My my immediate family, we don't speak too much to each other. If we do, it's just like it's quick questions and that's it. I'm not myself at Thanksgiving. I'm not myself at Christmas. I'm not myself at any family gathering. I'm just not me. And I will continue to enforce that. Okay. I am not myself at any family get together whatsoever. Okay. Yeah. And moreover, there's no group of people I can hang out with and see on the holidays or just stop by and visit. Everybody's worried about the airports and getting all their luggage and getting on time and getting to where they're supposed to go. And it's fucking ridiculous. It's like, it's so complicated. And the news highlights this. The TV on the news, they just say, oh, yes, everybody's going to the airport and it's packed, it's packed. And they show the traffic on the freeway. They show airplanes taking off. They show everybody standing in long lines. They love to spice it all up, make it really work. So to be honest, I don't give a shit. I don't really care. I'm always prepared, trying to get myself, like I said, if I ever have to leave, I mean, I'm going to say something heartless. If my mom ever dies, I don't think I can go to her funeral. Now, you may hate me for that, but it's not her. It's the rest of my family getting at me. Visiting her in the hospital, I probably should go and visit. But even then, I'm going to do what I want. I don't want anybody to own me. I don't want anybody to claim me. I don't want anybody to have this white slave ownership of me. I'm not George Lucas sitting there, white slavers. I'm not sitting there being told what to do. This is my life. And I don't want anybody can take control of my life. Just like they don't want to be controlled either. Well, fuck you too. You don't control me. Okay? And like I said, it's always you think about family, you think about your future, you think about what's going to happen to you. I think about what's going to happen to me. I don't have my own house. I don't have my own bank account. I have my own bank account, but I don't have my own business or way to stay afloat. That's why I put my in the description, I put my mailing address. So if anybody wants to help out, they can. If you don't have the power to help me, just write me hello. Just write me a letter. Just say what you think about the videos. If you don't want to put it in the comments section, you want to put it. You want to send me a private message, send me a private message. Or ask me a question. You can always send, even if you can't send any material goods, you could always send something of value. Sometimes advice is good. But like I said, going back to the first things first, I'm going to stick to what I know. And I'm also going to stick to my own personal beliefs. And I'm not religious. I don't pick political parties. But I also believe that we need to call bullshitters out on their bullshit, no matter what group or party they're affiliated in. Now, this is not a very long session today, but I wanted to end this on, I'm going to do part 1 of my analysis of Groundhog Day. And part 2 we'll do next week. This is the movie that I know Scrooge, there's Scrooged, right? And Scrooge is funny. I can enjoy Scrooge to some degree, but the best Christmas, New Year's, and Groundhog Day movie is this one. Now, why is it like Christmas? Well, ideally, he gets the girl at the end, right? But here it's like, it takes place in wintertime. And there's some Christmas trees and some stuff, snowmen and things like that. My dad watched this movie at least halfway through and said, oh, you see, the director's just making them do the same scenes over and over. It's a gimmick. Well, it is a gimmick, but there's more to it. And it's what does he do with this gimmick? So essentially, the original idea was that the writer wrote the story as the person lives the same day over and over, and he never knows it's the same day. He just does random things. But you have to tell a concise story in which the character evolves and learns something. And it takes them a while to learn things. So there was an episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, in which Christmas is repeated over and over, which is kind of like Charlie Brown's specials, in which you have the same exact things happen. But what they're trying to do here is try to figure out how to solve the problems. Now here it's, you see it in Star Trek The Next Generation, you see it in The Twilight Zone, you see it in Xena Warrior Princess, and you see it here as how does Phil, not Phil Collins, but I forget the last name of the character. I think it's Phil Connors. Yeah. So keep saying Phil Collins like the Genesis. So he's trying to figure. He's in this small town. Okay. And when I think of Christmas, you think of a small town, and in the small town you have, you expect it to be like, what is it? They show this NBC shows this every Christmas Eve. It's a Wonderful Life, in which you've got George, James Stewart. He's the guy who gets this cute little life, this sort of Leave It to Beaver little Hallmark life, and then the weight of everything he's doing is catching up. It's like it's having problems that he cannot handle, and so he starts drinking and he's pissed off, and then he figures it out in the end. So it's not an accident that everything is happening in this small little cottage town where you have like maybe 1,000 people population. I also think the movie Funny Farm with Chevy Chase is kind of like that too, but you don't learn as much in that one as you do. It's almost the same thing. The both Chevy Chase and Bill Murray start in a city and they end up in the small town. But here, the same day is literally starting over and over. So, like a video game, he has to do something right. So, to become the morality in a lot of Christmas stories is that you have to, you go from being this MGTOW, TFL, this loner, to being somebody who gets the girl, who has all these people, who care about him, okay? Because when he starts out in Puxatawny, he doesn't give a shit about anybody. Phil does not care. Bill Murray's character could care less. He's in this town. He's got a job to do. Gets in, gets out, like going to the bathroom. Okay, you go to the toilet, you get done, and that's how it is for us in real life. But as he realizes he can't escape February 2nd, he has to now deal with the fact that he has to solve problems. At first, it's like you take advantage of having no consequences, and then having sex with all these different women, and stealing money, and having all kinds of food, and smoking, and drinking, and ignoring people, and say, well, this will be solved tomorrow because tomorrow never comes. But as you start to understand what needs to happen is that he needs to solve the problems all around the town. This is sort of what Link does in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. He has to find a way to unlock the 4 giants in each dungeon to stop the moon from crashing into the town. He also has to solve the town's problems, but that's a whole different thing. And that he has to solve everybody's problems. So now he has to go from selfish to selfless. What I take from this when it comes to Christmas specials is that everybody puts their bullshit aside and says, oh, let's all be nice to each other. And I kind of bought into it for a little bit, but I see that my family in real life was a bunch of assholes that never learned a lot. They'll just still be the same people they're going to be. But in Christmas time, you learn to be, as cartoons would teach you, cartoons and some of those 1980s sitcoms, Growing Pains and Punky Brewster, I don't know, or Alf, or some of those other shows. Like everybody can kind of be nice to each other because it's Christmas and somehow everybody's like, they teach some kind of morality, that there's a morality in Christmas and we must put our BS aside. And so that is definitely enforced in this. Even though it's Groundhog Day, it's still a wintertime movie. And I can't think of a better movie than this one. And yes, it is BS, because who lives the same day over and over to correct their mistakes? But even the reaction to this movie was like when Harold Ramis pointed out, people, Jewish movement were holding up signs saying, "Are you living the same day over and over again?" So how do we solve the problems in our life to go from being a person who's by themselves? To be fair, this guy has a nice job, so I can't see him not having any issues. Maybe the real Phil Connors would have a girl for every day of the week, never have a real problem. But the man suffers in silence. So it's like, how does he go from being selfish to selfless? So how do we solve our own problems? This holiday is tricky. I don't carry a tree. I never see it. I never like. It's difficult to celebrate the holiday unless you can celebrate it with someone. And right now, that's not possible. But I'm glad I have my volunteering efforts, so I can at least see people. I think that's one of the reasons I have kept it. Now, I said to myself, if the volunteering efforts get to the point where people in my same position get jobs in the library, or people out and out cast me out or single me out and scold me for some reason, even though I've learned so much to not get myself into that situation, I'll bow out. But I haven't had that problem yet, and I'll stay and hold on to this volunteering effort as long as I possibly can, until something happens in my family and then I can't stay here. So, happy holidays to all of you. Think about seeing somebody that you haven't seen. If you can see that person, it doesn't have to be a family member. It could just be somebody that you can break bread with. Even if you just see that person for half an hour, you've done your bit. Get them something. I can only do so much for people. But honestly, I have zero friends. I don't talk to anybody on the phone. I don't talk to anybody on Skype. I don't see people in person. And that's what it really is to really see people. I still think of when my sister had bad breakup with her boyfriend broke up with her on Christmas fucking Day, which was shit. That's not the right day to do that. So you try to have good memories. You go out, you eat something. It's just hard. It's a day. It's okay to drink through the holidays. It's okay to have a blaze or even vape. But take care of yourself. Next week, we will cover the things that have happened this year and a fuck it list. Now, what is a fuck it list? It's like a bucket list, but I will explain more. And part 2 of Groundhog Day and its relation to New Year's. Until then, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be with someone, but do what is true to you.